I'm reading a book right now called the Nichomachean Ethics. It is one of the essential books on ethics by Aristotle and morality. I think I've reached like page 114, which is basically page 58 or 57. And yeah, it's a really interesting book. Obviously ancient Greek philosophy is the thematic of it, but I think it affects us even in today's society. Aristotle briefly mentions certain principles in the introduction in terms of thought and in terms of what is moral and immoral. And then he gets to the subject of goodness, virtue, and beauty. He comments, what is, I think, very significant is how he comments on goodness and virtue being a habit and being a type of life creating energy or a life force, right? Essentially that good habit creates good life, and a good life it habituates, right? It motivates goodness and virtue. So this book, the Nichomachean Ethics, has been one of the essential books for ages on human morality. So I think it's a very enjoyable read. One of the things that's very interesting is that he speaks about ultimate good. He speaks about the high good, right? Which is an abstract concept, and it's not something that is like tangible necessarily as to what he's referring to. He's speaking essentially about the high goodness of nature, of the nature of man, right? Or not the nature of man, but the highest good that man can live upon, right? The man can act upon. So essentially, the sum total of all the good qualities of man that are, I suppose, united or represented by an ultimate good reality within him. So in this context, he's not speaking about God as the, I suppose, ultimate good creator of the world, for whom we do good, but he's speaking about that ultimate human form, right? So Aristotle kind of implies that every human is a human, but not every human is a good human, right? So a human and a good human are both equal in their humanity, in their potential, but they're different in the maximity or the level of their goodness, right? So that's an important, I think, observation, especially for the modern world where everything is being equalized. Not everyone is actually equal. We're equal in our humanity, but different in the produce of our actions. There are people that are smarter than us, wiser than us, stronger than us, etc. And that's completely fine. The opposite is true of people being weaker in those dimensions, but we do not want to, out of arrogance and spite, emphasize that, right? Neither would would it be good to emphasize the idea of us being worse than somebody, because virtue, he defines it also within this book as a medium between two extremes. And since all of virtue is a medium between two extremes, it is understandable that basically the goodness that we strive for is something that we strive for without comparing ourselves to others. It is something that we just develop and act upon, and do not worry ourselves with whether we are better or worse or equal to somebody else, because at the end of the day, everything in nature serves its purpose. And even maybe we might not see the wisdom behind certain actions of God, but we can certainly, by inculcating wisdom in our life, better understand the wisdom of God, or intuit it better. So that's one major lesson from the Nichomachean Ethics so far from what I've been reading. Another thing is, I think that goodness is like a craft. He also mentions that abstract philosophy is pretty much useless if people are not going to act on it. That doesn't mean that they necessarily have to act in terms of like physical action with their hands and with their body, although that can be included in it if somebody's in like martial arts and they like philosophy, or if they're in some kind of physical work and they see use in philosophical methods in maybe distributing certain actions or organization in their work. But essentially what he's trying to say is that you have to enact, you have to bring philosophy into life. You can't just speak about it and comment it and then not take the cure that the doctor is giving you, essentially. So He's comparing philosophy to a cure. And yeah, basically, so actions can be in our speech as well, as long as they motivate others to good and as long as they organize and create harmony in the world. Because for Aristotle and these, well, more for Plato, but I suppose Aristotle is inheritor, harmony is a big concept of justice in philosophy and his ethical theory. So yeah, this is a fun book. I'm still reading it. I'll give you more impressions when I finish, but that's a nice summation of what I've read so far. And yeah, I hope that that has been useful. Think of it in this way, like that goodness can expand from the minimal to the maximum and vice versa, right? You can fragment a unity of good into different types of good, and you can unite different types of good into an ultimate form of goodness, right? This can affect the way you treat people in your company, and this can affect the way that people maybe treat each other in a country or a job or within their own body and soul. Okay, there you go. Take care.